right before getting knocked out of the group stages. So it's gonna be curious. But now that we will be moving on to the match first round once again, joining me here tonight will be once more Hurix. How you doing, man?
Doing good. Really excited for this. I mean, Hollywood is a map that I'm really excited to see. There's a lot of definite, there's some different possibilities and stuff that we can see from compositions wise. But interestingly enough, both of these teams, they played Hollywood, yeah, but they both played it against the worst team that didn't get out of groups. So it'll be interesting to see how they match up against each other. Of course, those guys really kind of stood out in their bracket, whereas I would say Dose took a pretty long while to start looking good.
And this is the one thing that I really had in mind when it comes to whether or not will we see more Mercy play is around these fair compositions. And now that we will see Ube on the likes of those picking that one up, we will see some more Mercy on Hidan. But Ube dropping really low, will manage to get the DC down to Hafiko. Very good start here potentially for Dose. They have a 6v5 advantage. And remember, no Mercy on the defensive side means a pick means that much more. They have so much of an impact now, as they will look to continue on to the point. However, the more time they give up here, the more ult charge the defensive side will be able to build up. And on top of that, the respawn will also come there. But Fusion's picking up Benbest is going to have a return kill for the likes of this. Already Earth Shatter coming out, but not finding too much success. Kib on that. Zarya is going to take out Heiko. But overall, a pretty big brawl on the point. And oh no, Hidan going down as he pops Valkyrie. It's just going to be an easy team fight win here as Crusade picks up a double kill on that Moira.
So with these supports, remember, even before we saw the Mercy Nurse, we saw these supports coming out, this tandem duo. But the thing here is that they get them really quick, those ultimates, but they're going to come away with that fight not having anything left. So now you can look at this next one. Honey's going to have a sound barrier. They're going to have Barrage. They're going to have Graviton pretty soon.
Oh, and the sound bear is going to be popped. Earth Shatters will get blocked, and the first one to go down will be Ube, and that engages. It's a 6v5,
but as Ube falls, we do see Heiko getting off a Graviton of his own, but Craggy's cleaning things up because they didn't really do anything to try to shut him down, and he will find 3 kills, make it a 4th that he actually gets the assist on there as well, with Kib securing the final blow. But we saw the Diva Dids trying to get up there, but lost his mech so quickly, and Craggy was just completely enabled from there. Honestly, I don't want to sugarcoat it. It was a terrible Earth Shatter from Benbest. And not the way you want to start this off.
It's really cool to see these Ryan v Ryan battles happen once more, as Fusions will look to do more here with the Earth Shatter of his own, as both Coalescence will be popped out. A Dragon Ball Z fight right here on the point, as nobody will go down as of yet. However, the shield there for Fusions losing out overall, but Dids getting desuited could open up big things, as Fusions will manage to find that particular kill. The charge is going to come out of Benbest, hunting down Craggy. However, with the sprint, he will make it out, and it is going to be once again those guys holding out strong, and considering so many ultimates being built up for them as well, things are looking very dire here for those Hurix.
And Fusions has been holding this Earth Shatter. He's been so patient with it. Doesn't want to just have it whiff into a shield like Ben's did. But there's the Graviton again, looking to try to find some more damage to secure these kills. And boy, do they get a good Earth Shatter there.
And still, it will be all about Fusions picking up those kills as he gets the second Craggy. Now coming in with the Attack Visor, will look to clean up house. Benbest did manage to find Fusions, however, and with Hidan now going in with Heiko, they're going to look to do something as Heiko picks up a double kill. Can they still somehow push them away? This could be a definite Herculean task if they somehow find the kills they need. The shield was there for the self-destruct. Funny Astro makes it out in time, and maybe with that double, Heiko is going to manage to finally turn things in their favor, as the first stick is achieved, second one as well. And now with the Coalescence coming out of the defensive side, it will pound the sound barrier. Ube is going to try and create some space with that whole hog. Benbest managing to kill Fusions is going to be a 6v5, and now the Earth Shatter looking to secure things potentially, but not too successful. Self-destruct coming through, pushing them away. Happy Cool instantly desuited, however, and eventually it should be those finding the kills they need to get this payload rolling.
The issue is here, once you get control on the point with this 4th tank strat, it's pretty easy to hold on to that. It's hard for any team to come in and start trying to focus down these supports because they're just so well insulated. If you play this correctly, the tanks can really absorb a lot of that pressure, and we saw that exactly happening there with Uni and Hidan, both just so safe, despite the fact that Craggy, one of the better tracers right now in the playoff bracket, was on his tracer pick. So still staying safe there, now going forward on the attack. They just don't have a lot of time to work with so far in this phase. If they get stopped here at all, it's going to be rough.
And we will already see Fusions have that Earth Shatter. Gets Hootie, actually. And now Kib is going to be able to clean up that kill onto Hidan instead. Haiko, though, does have the Graviton. He's going to wait it out. He's going to just give up this team fight, reset, regroup, and look stronger going into this next one. Try and just do it as quickly as possible, but the late staggered kills is going to make it that much more difficult. Than we've seen this happen in the past on Hollywood, but man, if you're on the offensive side, you really need to make that Graviton work, or maybe the Earth Shatter, because with 1 minute and 27 seconds left, considering the distance they need to cover, it's going to be really rough.
We haven't really seen a huge Earth Shatter just yet from BenBest, but there it is, the Graviton coming down, looking to try to follow up with the damage, and it's going to be Craggy Happy-Cool with a huge self-destruct landing inside of it there as well. That's going to demech Dids just after. Craggy's still so safe on this high ground right now, but a big opportunity now for Dose to fire back. They have Earth Shatter, they still have a Graviton of their own, they have both support ults, they're looking to clean up here, but Aiko taken down pretty low, and Fusions has been sweeping the floor with this hammer.
And now we'll see the attack advantage come out of Craggy, unable to find too much success there. However, we'll push the opposition away for just a little bit until the rest of his team can potentially regroup. But with so many ultimates available for Dose, if they can keep their composure, if they really stagger them accordingly, they can push it all the way to that second point. But Fusions will look to answer with an Earth Shatter of his own, and considering Kib is really close to that Graviton, could be big, as we'll look to engage with the Coalescence, with that help coming out of Hidan. We'll look to find an angle, gets the D-suit, but the Earth Shatter is gonna be there. Fusions again, Gravitons on both sides, but it is going to be those guys winning out in the end. And with 12 seconds remaining, no ultimates really to speak with on the attacking side. This should be those guys holding out strong.
This is why it's so important to go for when you have this momentum. Try to be aggressive, continue trying to build your ultimates up, because since Kib was so high on energy after that fight where they dropped the Graviton earlier in this phase of the map, you know, they just went forward, they took a couple more kills. You saw Kib staying in there for so long with Fusions, keeping that energy up so that, you know, while the Reinhardt was getting kills, he was securing ult charge. And then going into that last fight, after Haiko had been holding on to the Graviton of his own for, you know, a minute, maybe 2-3 minutes at that point himself, he was able to catch up. He was able to get that going again. And with everything else that they had stacked up, with the setup that they had provided, with a nice Earth Shatter dropping a couple people to the floor by Fusions, it's really just a tank play that I'm looking at right now between Fusions and Kib especially. Maybe a little bit Happy-Cool as well, providing some of that support with the defense matrix. That really kind of steps those guys up in a way and puts them quite a bit ahead of those right now.
And now that we'll be moving on to the next point, we'll see an early pick come out of Dids on that McCree to maybe just counteract the aggressive lineup that we might see out of those guys with those tanks. Of course, when it comes to those Ryan v Ryan battles, if you add a flashbang into the mix, that can definitely swing things your way. And with the heavy focus as of the latest patch on those tank picks, the likes of Junkrat, even though his mind got nerfed in terms of that damage, it doesn't do the full damage unless it's in right. It hits its target right in the center, dead center. He still builds up that charge really, really quick when against so many chunky, healthy tanks on the opposing side.
It's the same Riptire as it was before. So I mean, maybe your efficacy against the quad tank and a little bit of a spread may not be as strong, but you're still going against a quad tank. You're still throwing damage and pretty much always securing some kind of ult charge or damage threat as you do throw your regular primary fire. So I mean, anybody who thought that Junkrat's gone is going to be horrifically mistaken, because that is not going to be the case with this patch. Yes, he is slightly nerfed, but he is nowhere near gone from this meta.
At the very least, we'll not see as many ridiculous insta-kills with damage boost onto the likes of Tracers off the mine, but so far, it's going to be Fusions going down. That's what I was talking about. The McCree really being able to help out, shutting down the opposition when it comes to those Reinhardt battles. But BenBest is going to be extremely low. Kib takes down Haiko, so it's one kill, but that's not going to be enough, as the rest of the defensive side will be able to hold out strong. And look at this, Ube already good to go with that Riptire, which could single-handedly shut down another push.
And remember what we saw from Kib on this Roadhog before. I mean, really, really good usage of the hooks. We saw a lot of picks coming out of this guy. Great control as Craggy is on the Zarya himself, but these ult charges are insane despite those guys falling flat. We're going to see the Riptire coming out though from Ube, trying to slow things down just a little bit, but somehow Fusions hits it with the hammer, and now going live with the charge. He's not going to find anything just yet. Crusade with the Coalescence, and they're going to try to sustain this for just a moment longer here as Kib, unleashing that whole hog, will find 2 for himself. High noon from Dids, looking for something here. Going to be denied those sight lines as they come back in. Defense Matrix absorbs some of that, and Kib with a huge hook onto Dids will secure that kill as well.
Very nicely done here by the side of those guys, as they will manage to get that checkpoint eventually. They're still finding Ube there. Will go down in the end, fighting Astro, picking up that one. And with the fact that they do have Sound Barrier, they have that Graviton as well as the Earth Shatter. Looking into this next fight, it's going to come down to Heiko and Ube to really shut them down, because they don't really have to cover that much distance.
Kib looking to try to find some more hook picks here. You got a hook onto Zarya there, but obviously you're not going to be able to follow up, especially when she's able to put the barrier as the hook connects. Now, Bunny Astro with the Sound Barrier, they're going to want to get aggressive here. They're going right into Benbest. He's low already, and they might be able to find the kill here, and they do. Sound Barrier comes down inside of Heiko. That is huge. They actually get the Graviton off, but the Sound Barrier, the coverage from Fusions with the Earth Shatter, they clean things up, and they don't lose anybody in the process.
And they still have that Graviton good to go. Even the Coalescence on top. So, of course, we will see an answer come out of those with the Sound Barrier of their own. But considering what they are really up against, it's really looking unlikely that they're going to win out in this next team fight. Because Kib, as you said, has been definitely really big on that Roadhog. And picks matter that much more now, with those cooks connecting, as well as the whole hog eventually coming through potentially, as the first kill is gonna go over. Did's first one to fall, 6v5, and with the 6v4 now, this should be those guys winning out Hollywood, as they're gonna look to get those final few kills. These two in order. Ube, get out of there. And now Fusions getting that kill too, is gonna continue to swing away and secure the win for his team.
This has been all Fusions, hasn't it? I mean, he didn't land the charge on that last Graviton, but everything else has been picture perfect, pinpoint. I mean, laying out a Riptire with your hammer, you do not see that all that often.
Oh no.
Then obviously getting the best of Benbest in almost every situation that we saw right here at the end. Crusade obviously getting off a lot of healing with his Coalescence, a little bit of damage action as well inside that Graviton that came down, where they were able to battle it out. Overall, I really like the tank play so far. Things are going to definitely have to step up for Dose. We'll have to see if they're going to be able to answer the call after these commercials.
We are back at the analysis desk. What a great way for those guys to kick off the series. They stalled enough time on the first point, which didn't really allow those to make something happen on the second one, and eventually it got them the game.
It took actually a really good play coming out of Heiko from the side of those to really secure that first point eventually, but as you said, so much time lost for the first objective just to get the payload rolling is what really made things difficult going to the streets phase, because not having a lot of room to work with meant that they really couldn't set up to the way they would potentially want on that high ground. They had to play aggressive on that payload to contest, and it was those guys picking up the win.
Now coming up next is Hanamura. What are we expecting to see here?
I think, considering the fact that Ube did show that Junkrat once again, I would like to see more of that particular hero come out of him, but maybe just the rest of his team potentially playing a little bit more around that particular hero rather than have dids on that McCree as well.
Hanamura is ready. Let's jump right into it.
So it looks like we're going to be seeing some more tank play here, and this is something that, you know, we probably expected, obviously, especially with EU. They were already pretty comfortable with this, having played it. Pretty much every team has already shown us this look. Now, looking here at this map on Hanamura, we've already seen a lot of attacks going with tanks, you know, even going into the second objective, especially with rolling momentum, you know. That is something that a lot of teams have already tried. They liked it. It's worked out in the past. But defensively, I think this is where things get interesting, because right now we see something a little bit different. You know, we've seen this before, you know, months prior to this tournament. But Craggy is on a Mei. And what this is really, really good for is because with these tanks in play, there's not going to be that opportunity to, you know, rush over a wall or get past it. And with this, you're going to be able to see them diving off, or at least creating a wall where nobody can back up. Obviously, yeah, Dose is going to want to be holding the W key with this tank strat anyways, but if they can actually just cut them in half with Craggy's wall, this will be huge, because it'll give them an easy opportunity to just clean up 6v3 real quick, stop pushes just like that. I expect to see a little bit of a change if this Mei wall works.
Oh, he's still hiding it for now. Craggy, of course, being a player that has got a little bit of history on that one, and even seeing Anoff coming out of Bach 1 is really, really nice, who is a potential swap around with Funny Aster on that roster, but that's what we're talking about. The wall is gonna be up. Fusion's picking up Best as well, and just like that, they're gonna be able to push the opposition away. And Fusion was once again looking insane on that Reinhardt. Already good to go with the Earth Shatter. Oh, Ube.
Now, I don't know. I think he gets away. He does indeed. He's gonna pull away from that one. We're looking at the coalescence from Hidan getting up pretty close now, and they're gonna want to engage again pretty soon here. But they really have to go in together. Hook gonna be disconnected from Kib, and Benbest just trying to pull that wall out if he can. But look at this, so much time being pulled out because they're so timid around that wall from Craggy. They're expecting it, and they're kind of afraid of it. It goes down. There's the Blizzard as well. There's no getting away from this.
Oh, even with this making the swap, it is going to be actually Heiko picking up the first kill, a return to one from Fafical, and it's actually a surprising turn of events so far, as Kib, with the whole hog, even with the nano boost on top, he's not going to be able to find any kills. The self-destruct is going to be launched. Can he find any targets, especially with the hook? No, it's going to be Ube picking up Fafical, but Kib answers with a kill of his own. Oh, ooh, we'll see Craggy stay alive there. Wasn't really, really close, but we'll see also still the Roadhogs on both sides picking up more kills, and overall it is the defensive side that is at the disadvantage with the respawn, but this is gonna instantly go down. Crusade answered, and it's a back and forth as both teams still struggled to get control of this point.
This is a bloody brawl right here. Hafikul is on the Tracer, and now he's coming back into this, so it's gonna be even more back and forth. There's the Graviton coming down from Heiko. They bring them straight into a whole hog from Ube, and now we're gonna be seeing a little bit of a cleanup. They have control on the objective, but Fusion's coming in with that nano boost. He tries to get something sorted. Not going to work out for him, though, as Happy Cool comes into the point. He'll drop more than likely as well, and that's a pulse spawn that comes out, but a kill will not follow.
Ooh, and Craggy there, even delaying things further. Not even one tick. Now they're finally get that one tick with 1 minute and 30 seconds. Definitely a good defense from the side of those guys, as they will make some swaps around. I definitely like this. We've seen how effective Soldier can be on that second point. And interestingly enough, even Kib is going to make the swap to that Genji. So We'll see what they can do, because without a Reinhardt and the likes of Fusions, Benbest could potentially have a huge opportunity for a big Earth Shatter.
I have to cool back on this Diva. Craggy has gone back over to the Soldier, but they're going to go ahead, go up and around. Now looking to try to get on point. Remember that this is obviously a control composition, trying to pull everybody down, especially with Dids on this Reaper. A lot of damage coming out. He's getting a lot of heals as well. Hidan with the Coalescence being popped out. It's going to be a Death Blossom from Dids. He finds 2 kills instantaneously. They're cleaning up the point. Look how much control they have on this objective as Kib looking for an opportunity to get in, but he's gonna get swarmed. Reaper now just dishing out the damage to Fusions. No control left for him. They can't even get on the point as Craggy pops out the tack visor. 4:30 is the time. Remember that, you know, with momentum, this composition is just so strong. You force everybody down to the objective, and who's gonna control it? Who could you throw down there that's not gonna get decimated in a second? You throw down any kind of tank player, they get completely ripped apart by the Reaper and even the Roadhog. And then if you throw someone that's more elusive in there, the tanks will find the ability to find that kill, because they just have so much presence and so much control on the objective that there's nowhere to slip and slide through, you know? There's nowhere to go.
It was really well executed at that too, just managing to make the most out of those ultimate advantages on top. And now that we have the latest changes to Mercy, another interesting fact is we've seen a bunch of quad tank or these tank heavy comps favored in the EU Season 2, even prior to those changes. But now, even with the big thing of going to the second point where you need to go for the hard reset, that might not really be the case anymore. We might see a little bit more Soldier potentially, but that will be pretty much it for the most part. So that means that overall it will make things better for the offensive side.
Now on defense, Dids presenting that Reaper one more time. And it's important to remember, guys, if you're watching right now, you know, this is one series in one region, one day after the patch. So what we're seeing here may not be indicative of what you'll be seeing in a couple weeks from now. It might not even be indicative of what we're going to be seeing later this current week. I mean, there's a lot of different variables to account for the fact that, you know, teams might be still kind of adapting, adjusting things. They might not be yet comfortable with some of the things that they're trying out and some of the scrims that they've played on the PTR. Because obviously these teams have played on the PTR before, and they've been consistently practicing on it for some time now. That's a big reason why Funny Astro has been in this lineup off and on, because they like him a lot on the PTR patch, which is now, of course, the live patch. Just to play that Lucio, they really like it. But Crusade's going to be on the Lucio here for them. Bach somehow fading away from danger there, and an aggressive hold on defense here, of course, for Doze after a pretty solid first time set here on Hanamura.
And it will be interesting to see how they can really play around both the Roadhog as well as the Reaper to make the most out of it, considering the fact that there will be some split attention that they need to really give out for the offensive side, because having both Craggy on the outer side and Kib with the rest of his team in the other is going to make it very difficult for them to deal with both, as Fusions is going to be able to find a first kill. However, Uwe answers with one of his own onto that Winston, and now as Huni will get another kill onto Hafiko, is going to be big, but Crusade getting one onto Dids might enable the rest of his team. The hook misses, doesn't get the Mora with that Coalescence. Bach looking to do a lot of damage, enable the rest of his team, but the answer coming out of Hidan should keep the rest of those safe for now and push the rest of those guys away.
But those guys still have that ability to get themselves back into and inside this side of the arches here, which is big. They're going to dive right on through, go in with that support of the sound barrier. Now getting aggressive. Ube's going to ward them off with the whole hog, but that's going to be the last ult that they have accounted for as Heiko trying to get this Graviton. He's under fire now, though. Gonna save himself for the time being, but he's still down below half. Gonna fall there to Craggy, and it's the blade from Kib who was able to clean up the Reinhardt. Did's trying to turn things around here. Does find the kill on Diffusion. That's a big pickup, because now the control certainly lost a little bit. And Crusade just kind of jumping his way around, getting some healing out. Pulse Bomb going out from Did's, not going to find anything. He's really kind of just alone on this objective here. Nobody else to help him out, and that will be a point secured for those guys, but not very convincing in the way that they pulled it off.
However, I do really like the swap coming out of Kib already on that Soldier. Will enable him to potentially get a hold of the high ground and help the rest of his team to push for a good second point hold, because of course now that they have 5 minutes and 40 seconds remaining, they definitely have quite a bit of room to work with towards getting that objective, but the Anch is coming out of the defensive side with Benbest, and that could be big, but the pulse bomb is gonna be even bigger, coming out of Craggy, enabling a 6v5, and now with the 6v4, it should potentially be a big for a second point take, but the answer with the air shatter coming out of Benbest is gonna pick up 2 kills of his own, now being brought extremely low. Hafiko is gonna look for the kill, it will not be successful, and now self-destruct is gonna return with the Graviton from the side of Haika. Not sure if it was really needed there, as Kib is on that high ground, will be forced to go back towards the spawn, and with that Earth Shatter out of Benbest, they managed to hold for now.
Remember that those guys, you know, when we saw them really popping off, it was mostly with the dive. Yeah, they can play the quad tank, yeah, they can play the triple tank, it all works for them, but when we saw them looking outstanding, when they were dominating other teams and taking away, you know, top finishes in their bracket, or in their group rather, it was mostly with the dive. Kib and Craggy, you know, playing the Tracer, playing the Genji together, that's where they looked the best. Fusions and Hafiko definitely being able to create space for something like that as well. Now switching things over a bit, they're going to have to adapt, and that's going to take some time. Whereas, you know, with this tank strat, Dose has looked really good on this so far, especially even when you look back to the first time we saw it from them on Route 66.
Now Tag Visor is going to be popped by Kib. Craggy looking for an angle with a pulse bomb, and he gets it. Oh boy, a double kill there for Craggy, who's fragging out for now, but can he keep it up? He gets another one onto Hootie and the DC onto Haiko. Crusade picks up that kill, steals it away, as Craggy's going to kill Hidan as well, and this should eventually be going over to those guys, especially since he doesn't get on the point. Tried his best, didn't quite make it, and they find it in the end. But overall, in terms of the time bank, it is an advantage for Dose.
So they're gonna go ahead and attack for a second time. Their first push, especially considering the matchup that we expected here, it left a little bit of something to be desired. They're gonna be going with the dive again into this, what is likely gonna be again a quad tank, maybe a triple tank. We saw Dids experimenting first with the Reaper, and then of course going over to the Tracer where he was able to stall out for another 10 or so seconds. Now we're just going to be waiting to see what Dids does wind up bringing here again, and that's going to be a Tracer. I think it was probably the more consistent pick from him as he came back from respawn on it and was able to get a little bit more done, being a little bit more elusive, still punching out a lot of damage. You know, with the Tracer, you're still able to get off a lot of damage against tanks. Yeah, the Reaper might be a little bit quicker, but I think the Tracer is more all-around efficient because you're able to do more for the dealing with the supports, dealing with the DPS a little bit as well. But, you know, interestingly enough, they don't have the D.Va, and that's been really kind of the dominant off-tank that we've seen probably for the last, I don't know what's it been.
It's been
I want to say like 6 months, but my time in my head is just so off. It's been a very long time that D.Va has just been pretty much the best pick. But we're going to be seeing Kib actually come out on a Pharah, so they're still going to go for a dive. And for all of you naysayers who thought that there wouldn't be any Mercy, here's Mercy.
We'll definitely expect to see more of her on the maps like Oasis, or where teams will prefer that Pharah Mercy combo once again. But we'll look for an angle. Doesn't get that blast off to really section off Benbest from the rest of his team, as we'll see Craggy off onto the point as he wins that Tracer duel, gets the first kill to start things off here, getting Dids out of the picture, does enable the rest of his team to potentially collapse, as Hidan is gonna go down as well. Kib picking up that one, and it's gonna be a bloodbath on the point, all about those guys cleaning up house at this point.
They were so, I mean, they had to adjust their sightlines to be able to just deal with that frontline fight that they weren't winning. They just weren't winning it because Kib with this Pharah is able to displace them, toss them around, get off a lot of damage, kind of separate Benbest out a little bit. And I mean, it worked out in their favor because as soon as they did turn around, those guys just put the foot on the gas pedal, just ran at them, just took them down, just chomped them at the bit, took out the backside as well. But now, with a lot of ults coming away, we're seeing some adjustments being made on defense as well. Some change to a dive, pulse bomb going out from Craggy, not going to find anything, but McCree now brought into the mix, as well as, of course, the essential dive tanks, which are, of course, Winston and D.Va.
And now Colos is gonna look to take fusions down. Rocket Bar is gonna be the answer. Gets the D-suit and the kill onto Heiko, as this does get eventually Craggy in the end. Bach, however, is still getting the Coalescence kill onto Benbest. The Resurrect will come through slowly but surely. Craggy's back up on his feet and will be looking to secure the second point once more, as Hafikal finding Dids once again. Will be Huni popping that sound barrier, delaying things further for his team. Ube trying to find a kill, however, Hafikal's in his face, gets the kill. Self-destruct as well on the point, and the shield was there for Benbest. Kills still not really happening just yet, and they need to make this work, as Heiko's gonna find a kill, or rather D-suit. And Benbest is going to be the one to get a kill onto Crusade, and slowly but surely, it's even with Craggy still looking for the skills, getting two of his own, it should eventually go over into Dose's favor.
Very good turn and advantage taken from the assault map. Now Ube, we'll have to see if he wants to stick to this Genji. It looks like he is going to. So he's going to stick this and, oh, maybe trying to see if he wants to switch. He's looking like he's right in between. Okay, he is going to decide to switch or stick to this rather. First tick taken though, of course, by the offense, and this is the Zenyatta, the first Zenyatta pick that we've seen so far in the playoffs, as of yet at least, from Bach now, and we'll see them re-engaging here. Kib on the soldier. They're trying to make space for him here so that they can just kind of nest him up on this high ground, and if they can leave him here, they're going to have a big advantage on that fight on the control point. And we'll have to see if they can even get down there. They're going to try to pull them down to the point. They bring their tanks down there. A lot of damage coming out, though, from Dose, and certainly an advantage if they do decide to dive in. We'll have to see if they can actually secure any kills.
Oh, Earthshatter is going to catch Craggy. Says we need to shut him down instantly, and they do just that, but at a cost of what? As Hafikal alongside Kip is going to be able to pick up a triple kill. And with those kills going through, it might just mean that they will give up on this point eventually. Huni now just toying with the idea of going onto the point, finally gets there as he did pop that sound barrier, but goes down, and with no real advantage off of it, it's going to be very difficult. Ubedeo getting close to that blade, might look to turn things around still. Self-destruct once more. It's going to be Bog using that Transcendence, keeping the rest of his team safe and alive, healthy with the heal. Heiko, once again, desuited, will go down. Dids not really able to make it on the point. Dragon Blade, though, is going to finally come out, and very good patience with that sound barrier was there to negate the effectiveness of Ube, and with those kills going through in the end, they will manage to find that last point, but with 17 seconds left on the clock.
Hafikal's diva is insane, man. I was pretty much just watching, like, myself, I was just watching Hafikal pretty much throughout that last fight. You know, he was going off. We saw him find that triple kill to begin with, and I was just tuning in to see, you know, where he was positioning, how he was using his defense matrix to make sure that the fight was sustained so that they could stay on there on the point and keep securing kills to secure the objective along with it. And then on top of that, he was just so lethal. He was just going around, throwing out insane damage, zoning off any kind of high ground threat. We saw a couple times someone trying to sneak up there, and real quickly, Hafikal was just like, nah, stood in front of the stairs and just backed them off. There was no hope for anybody to try to take any kind of advantage. They were just forced to either go to the point or stay confined in that back kind of hallway area where really there's no getting away from that threat that's going to still be on the point. So really good stuff from Hafikal there. Helped them secure it, but overall now they really got to step up on defense. They had a good first showing initially with this Mei, but as things slipped away, they let momentum go the way of Dose, and that's when things really started to look grim on point B. Now, they're going to bring the Mei back once more here, Brunj, and we'll have to see if this works out in their favor. They were able to stall the fight out for quite some time. They just can't lose too much momentum if they lose the point pretty soon here.
But interestingly enough, we'll see Dids already start things out on the Tracers, so we'll be curious to look if they will be more effective this time around, as Bach will be picking up that Ana once again. He will look for the wall, but it is going to be Kip getting the kill, gets it onto Ube. Very nicely done to open things off already, but it's going to come down to whether or not those can really adapt once more, and how quickly they can really do to play around said Mei, especially with Kib finding another hook, line, and sinker with that one, as he gets another beautiful hook onto Benbest this time around, and once again shutting down the push coming out of Dose, and valuable time now ticking away slowly but surely.
Benbest coming back in, had a big shatter a couple times on this map. Really needs to find a big one here. Dids snuck his way around the backside. Last time we saw this, Craggy took him down in a 1v1, but they're on the attack now. Now the pressure's on them. Can they find the kills here? A huge biotic grenade coming from Bach. That's going to shut down most of this attack. Haika will fall out as well, and Hidan will try to find his way out of here, I imagine, and actually he's going to get trapped. I think they're going to be able to secure the kill. They will indeed. Craggy locking him down. And now we're going to see 3 minutes on the clock here. They're coming away with a couple options, Ben Best on the Earthshatter being one of them. But the Blizzard is going to be a hard thing to answer, especially if someone gets nano boosted here. Don't know who it's going to be because there certainly is a lot of options.
I would imagine it shall be Kib once more, but it is definitely not necessarily the 100% one to be picked, and the Earthshatter is going to come through by Ben Best, looking for those targets, but as said, the Blizzard is going to be the answer, instantly already getting those 2 kills. Gonna make that a third, actually, with Fusions picking down Huni in the end. Kib finds Dids as well, and once again, they will still have that Earthshatter and still have the whole hog good to go, even going into the next team fight, and with 2 minutes and 22 seconds remaining, not too many options left for those.
But good patience displayed by Hidan. Hold on to that coalescence. If they didn't have that here, I don't know what their hopes would be. But again, Bach just so... I mean, he's just so consistent with these biotic grenades, shutting down these pushes. There's no healing that's going to come out. And I think that's something that works really well against this kind of composition. Because especially against stuff like Roadhog, you know, most of his sustain comes from the ability of being able to heal himself and get healed from everybody as well. And that's just not going to happen if he keeps getting biotic grenaded, and he's going to not be able to get healed on top of it. So I really like this Ana pick from them, especially as a kind of counter, an answer to the tank meta that a lot of people thought we were going to see.
And we'll see now, Dids actually making the swap over to the Reaper, so they might just want to go ahead, bait out that wall, and just push through, as we'll see them once again try to engage. Didn't find any target just yet. The Earthshatter is going to connect onto one there, I believe, as the Coalescence will be coming through on both sides. Whole Hog with that Nano Boost is going to be on top of Kib. We'll be looking for a lot of success. Self-destruct is not going to find any targets, but Fusion gets a charge onto Dids. And with the kills still falling through, Crusade picking a double kill, make that a triple kill with his orb. It will be 57 seconds left on the clock, and only Earthshatter inside here for those.
Crusade just sucking away their health, man. That orb getting a little bit more off as well, but big adjustments being made. Ube on the Pharah, and now, you know, with Craggy on this May, we'll have to see if Craggy and Bach can maybe find an answer, or maybe if they could just, you know, get this sorted on the ground level, because they do have the Blizzard, and we'll have to see, because this is definitely going to be the last fight here. So if they get a wall off, they're going to section off Ben Best. This is huge already. Blizzard at the ready as well. They're just going to throw it on down.
And Earthshatters on both sides. Ben Best just not allowed to play at this point, as he got both of those crowd controls, but it is a 1-for-1. Kibbs gets that kill, and we'll see if they can continue as Hidan now will make this desperate swap over to the Moira, try to get back into the fight, but it is kills all over here for those guys as Ube gets one of his own. Dids tries to do something, gets hooked instead. No Death Blossom for you, and as overtime ticks out, it will be those guys closing it out 2-0.
Such great poise from those guys. We saw Bach staying so safe in those fights. Great control, especially from Hafakul and Kib there. And, I mean, being able to stay alive behind Fusions as he kind of just created that extra bit of room for Bach to get away from some of these threats, some of these tank threats especially. That was really cool to see, especially since we haven't seen a lot of Ana. It's nice to see her kind of making a little bit of a return, and a big return at that. But we still got another game to go, at least 2 more, really. And we'll see how those shape out after these commercials.